I've been thinking about what other changes I'm going to be making, what different approaches I'm going to be taking for the ninth generation of video games. And one of those changes is definitely going to be, without question, less of a support for paid DLC for any game genre. I don't care if it's fighting games, which is the worst offender when it comes to paid DLC, whether it's action games like what you're seeing on the screen. By the way, this is me playing Virgil for free in Devil May Cry 3 on the hardest difficulty that I didn't have to pay money for, looking at Capcom and their recent bullshit announcement for the special edition of Devil May Cry 5. Whether it's an open world game like Assassin's Creed or The Witcher or Watch Dogs. Oh, that's another one, by the way. Ubisoft wanting to charge people money for a character that was available in the first game of the fucking series for an unreleased game that is still well over a month away from being released. Whether it's a racing game, I don't play racing games, but there's plenty of people who do. Whether it's for one of these RPG games that are out there, whether it's for an FPS game, whether it's for a third-person shooter game, I don't care what the genre is. I will not be supporting paid DLC in mass next console generation. Now, if there's a game that I feel like, okay, the game was great, I want to see what the developers are going to add to the game post-launch, fine. If you give me a good deal, you put your best foot forward, then yes, I will support you. But if these game developers and publishers think that I'm just going to stand by idle and not do anything, not say anything, when I do see a bad deal, then they have another thing coming. I will not be one of the thousands of idiots, of drones, who waste their money on paid content that should have been in the game at launch. I could list so many different examples from games in the 8th generation that have charged for paid DLC, content that should have been in the game. There are so many games that are guilty for this. Final Fantasy 15 is one of them. Mortal Kombat 11 is another. The upcoming Watch Dogs Legion and Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition are more examples. Pretty much any fighting game this generation. I already mentioned Mortal Kombat 11, but then you also have Street Fighter 5, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7, which is the worst one, 3 fucking season passes full of characters that should have been in the game to begin with. This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. I will not support paid DLC in mass next console generation because most of the time when these games come out, they come out bare bones, they come out half-ass, they come out with the mentality of, okay, we'll just release what we have and we'll patch it later. Similar to what the situation is going on right now with the Avengers game from Square Enix, which received a 20 gigabyte day one patch and was released buggy and glitchy as hell, full of loot boxes and microtransactions. This is the type of nonsense that I'm talking about. I will not be a part of it next console generation. We need more companies, and I'm not really a fan of them, but I do support their pro-consumer practices. We need more companies like CD Projekt Red. One of the things they got right with The Witcher 3 was free DLC. One of the things they're going to get right with Cyberpunk 2077 is free DLC. Star Wars Battlefront 2 had free DLC. There's some other games as well that also had free DLC that you didn't have to pay for. And then you have some games that don't have DLC at all. And I think we should get back to those days. If these companies can't turn a profit without creating a bunch of anti-consumer paid DLC post-launch, then maybe they may want to rethink their business strategy. How about having a lower budget? How about having a game that's shorter? I don't need an 80-plus hour game. I don't need a 30-plus hour game. I'll happily pay $60 for a 15-plus hour game that's of quality, that doesn't have any DLC, than spend money on something that's 100-plus hours long, that has DLC and season passes and microtransactions up the ass, that was made only to turn a profit and nothing else. So when it comes to changes, once again, my approach when it comes to the 9th generation of video games, supporting paid DLC and more so supporting cut content that should have been in the game from the very beginning is something that I'm just not down with.